A few days ago, my wife and I hit Gold's Gym. We did the hardest leg workout I've ever done in my life. The night before, I hadn't slept very well. Then the next day, I did my push workout, which is chest, triceps, and shoulders. And on that workout, I pushed the hardest I ever have. Unfortunately, that next night, I didn't sleep very well. And by the next day, I came down with the flu. Last night, I was laying in bed trying to sleep and constantly tossing and churning because when I get the flu, I get incredible head pain. I used to be a victim of cluster headaches. Many people have committed suicide over the pain of cluster headaches. You can go look it up. It is the most painful headache on the planet. And I'm sitting there in my half sleep, groaning. And finally I said, God, I know that everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a purpose. So God, what are you teaching me through this? Like, what are you trying to show me? And it suddenly hit me that just 2 days before, I had created a video for you and published it here that talked about how everything that happens, even the tough days, is a part of making you the kind of man who can build wealth and freedom for his family and his wife, who can serve others, who can treat money in a way that will matter 9,000 years from now, a topic that is grossly avoided by most pastors from sea to shining sea and around the world. And so finally, I went back to sleep and actually slept for a few hours, woke up this morning, head pain was way down, and I noticed something interesting. Everyone was gone from the house except myself and my youngest child, Ats. I call her Ats. Her name is Adelie. And because of my sickness and feeling feeble and cold from chills, we ended up just talking for a long time. We watched a couple Strawberry Park shows that make fun of woke insanity. And then we just talked and connected, talked about personalities, which is a huge passion of hers, and talked about God. And it was such a cool 1.5 to 2 hour time. And it suddenly hit me at the end of that time, God 100% answered my prayer. The prayer I prayed last night in my pain and suffering, God said, hey, Seth, here's what I'm going to do for you. And he showed me this today. You're not spending enough time with your daughter, Ats. And so I'm going to slow you down. And I know the best way to do it. I'm going to hit you with head pain. And this is something I love about God because he knows he's so custom when he trains us and disciplines us. He knows exactly how to touch us in a way that hurts. Now, don't get me wrong. God takes no pleasure in causing pain, not at all. But just like a wise parent, he also knows that pain is the path to learning and growth. And I found it incredibly ironic that now God is forcing me to apply what I taught on this channel just 2 days ago. So I just want to take a moment and encourage you with something. When something in your life goes wrong, please do not believe for a second that it is wrong. It is actually right. And here's why I want to challenge any other thought. And you might say, well, Seth, what if, my spouse dies or I come down with a terminal illness? How could you call that right? I understand in the proximate sense, immediate, it's wrong. Of course. We were not meant to die. It's funny to me when people say, death is natural. Like, it's so funny. And yet they do things to fight against wrinkles. They do things to fight against hair loss. They try to make themselves look younger, and yet they say death is natural. Look, if death was natural, then you wouldn't give a you-know-what about how you look as you get old and you get more achy and you get wrinkles and all that stuff. You wouldn't care. You would say, yeah, this is the way. And yet nobody likes getting older. Everyone likes to stay in their prime. Death is not natural. We were built to live forever because sin entered the world. It messed something up severely, and now death entered the world. And the greatest proof of Christianity is simple. It's the impossibility of the contrary. There is no other option. Like, you can literally take the worldview of the Christian, and it explains exactly why almost every country has almost the same laws when it comes to things like murder. If someone murders, there's punishment. Whether it's capital punishment or not is not the point. The point is everyone agrees it's wrong. The point that faithfulness is honored, adultery is dishonored. I don't care how lascivious of a society you live in, people respect you more if you were a faithful spouse because they know that took integrity and character and pushing through hard moments on those days when you wouldn't touch your spouse with a 10-foot pole, and yet you still chose to love them through that because the love you experienced of God for you when he loved us when we were not lovable, which blows my mind about the gospel. God loved us when we were not lovable. He loved us when we were enemies. So back to my point. I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking, this is amazing. God literally lets me suffer the flu because he wants to do something more important than my physical comforts. And now I get to share this with you. So I want to walk you through this concept. Do you actually believe that nothing that happens in your life is bad? Again, I'm not saying it isn't negative. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't cause grief and loss, and it shouldn't be that way. We were meant to live forever. We were not meant to suffer. I get that. But that God is actually purposing it because he is that awesome. And if you doubt that, and let me tell you, to encourage you, for decades, I doubted it. Even when I could say with my mouth, oh yeah, God works all things together for good, I didn't really believe it in my heart that God, every single one of God's intentions to me are for good. And if you don't believe that, you will drop into despair. And despair is so self-defeating. It will castrate your focus. It'll cut you out at the knees when it comes to building your business, being there for your family, being a protector, and succeeding with the dime God's given you. But listen to these words from Paul. This is why I believe it, not just because he said it, but also because I've experienced it. Listen, Romans 8:28, and we know. He didn't say we think. He didn't say we guess. He didn't say we surmise. He said, and we know. I love the conviction. That God causes. He didn't say lets. Some people are like, oh, I can't handle God being sovereign, so he lets bad things happen. No, God causes. Wait, so you're telling me God caused my wife to die? He killed my wife? No, but he allowed it to, and he ultimately caused it because he's sovereign. Because if he's sovereign, then how could he not be the cause? Like if he's sovereign, then truly he's working through the events. Let me put it this way. James, the brother of Jesus, tells us that God cannot be tempted by evil. And he also says that God will never tempt us. So if God will never tempt us, then there's certain things God cannot do. Yet God will still use temptation from the world, from our own hearts, from demons, from other people, from sin around us to grow us. So he still ultimately is the ultimate cause. It doesn't mean God came down there and boom, kill the wife, or boom, I'm going to tempt you. Not at all. But he works through our brokenness. Look, it wasn't God's idea to say, let's just sin now and you guys can die, Adam and Eve. No, they were going to live forever in the garden. And yet they stupidly took the forbidden fruit, whatever it was, pomegranate, cantaloupe. I don't know. Most people think it was an apple. Listen to what he says. We know that God causes some things. Nope. A few things. Nope. All things. All things. So yeah, when you get sick, that's included in all. If a loved one dies, that's included in all. When your business fails, that's included in all. And let me tell you, I don't speak of things I don't know. I've never been terminally ill, but my wife's mother died just a few months ago. We sat there by her bedside as she passed. She's been sick ever since I met my wife. Her mom has been sick. How can this be said? How can you say God causes all things? Well, first of all, I've experienced it. But because God says it right here, all things, when your spouse cheats on you, when your child betrays you, yes, all things. What are you talking about, Seth? I had a family member who did some very, very painful, heartbreaking things, both to me and my wife. And over 7 years, we prayed and prayed and prayed for this person. And after 7 years, I looked back and it suddenly hit me. One of the reasons God allowed it to happen is because he was growing our prayer life. I'd never prayed so much in my life. And that prayer life blessed me and it blessed my wife and it helped us to walk closer to God. And now we're seeing that prayer begin to be answered. Isn't that amazing? So again, if you're asking, Seth, have you gone through suffering? Yes, I lost a $50 million company, was selling furniture out of my garage to pay for groceries. I know what it's like to be very poor, to be very wealthy, and to lose it all again, and to be attacked online viciously, and all sorts of lies to be told about me. And yet that's exactly what my heart needed, so that I would put my hope and focus back into God again, so that I would find my identity in him, not my accomplishments. So again, we know that God causes all things to work together. Think about that. He doesn't just do an action and here you get result. He causes them to work together. It's like a tapestry of all these different threads, and they're all working together towards this common goal. Listen, for good, not for bad. So when something goes wrong in your life and you say this is bad, that really is a statement of I'm not trusting God. When I do this, I'm not trusting God. And don't get me wrong, I know how hard it is to do that when you're like, man, things have just really fallen apart. What am I supposed to do in this situation? But he says all things, yeah, the sickness, the death, the betrayal, all things, the loss of finances, all things work together for good to those who love God. Wait, so you're telling me, Seth, that I love God, I follow him, he saved me, and everything that feels bad in my life, God is using for my good? Yes, because that is the kind of God we serve. He's that awesome. He's so patient and so gracious that he will even allow horrible things that happen in our life, and through that, use it to grow us. And remember, it wasn't his decision to steal the forbidden fruit. That was humanity's decision. That was Adam and Eve's stupid decision. God causes all things to work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. God called us, like Jesus calls the lamb. My sheep know me, and they hear my voice, and they follow me. So, no matter what is going on in your life right now, whether the pain is as simple as my friend's foot surgery where he can't walk for a while and he has to wait, and it's easy to, oh, that's not a big deal. No, it is a big deal. Imagine not being able to walk for weeks. I saw the incision. It's massive. Whether it's that, whether it's losing everything physical you have, minus your health. That was me, bankruptcy. It was very difficult. Whether it's your spouse leaving you, thank God, my wife loves me and is faithful, but I can't imagine what that would feel like. Whether it's your child betraying you, every single one of my kids has broken my and my wife's heart at some point. Every single one of them. And I love them, and to death. I'm not trying to throw them under the bus at all. I've also broken my parents' hearts. No matter what it is, I promise you this, there's good in it. And even sitting here, I have chills, my head hurts. I want you to know something, brothers. God loves you. He's using everything. And even in the moment where maybe you don't have the faith to say, God, I'm trusting you. God, I believe it's for good. Please know this. He is not giving up on you, because that's the kind of God who you serve. He is faithful, and he'll keep pursuing you even when you're not listening to him, even when you know you're falling away, even when you know you're sinning. He won't stop, because his love is agape. That's the Greek word for unrequited love. It's where God loves someone and they don't love him back. That is the love God had for me when he saved me at 12. And he's continued to love me all these years, even when I was far from him. And I promise you this, he will do the same for you. And if you're listening to this and you're like, oh yeah, religion, blah, blah, blah. Let me just tell you this. Jesus walked this earth. He lived the life you failed to live. He died the death you deserve to die. And when he was on the cross, while he's being nailed to the cross, he said, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing. Did not plan this. And he rose on the third day. That's amazing. And I hope with all my heart you find your hope in him. He is the King of Kings. And I hope that as you build your business, you find massive value in this channel. You guys have an amazing day.